No. Like fuck Oleg. I mean, that's not interesting.
Yes.
Lara, you will cut this out, right?
No.
Okay. Obtrusive animal has voluntarily left the stream, and we can start. Hello, people. We're gonna talk about digital gardens today and what that is. We're gonna meet two people with a million hobbies and some normal people with just one hobby, and so that makes 2,000,003 hobbies right in the stream. We will ask these people, how do they sort out, how do they live with these million hobbies, and then we'll try to think, can the tools that are called like digital gardens be used to like sort and store the community resources. That's pretty much the plan for the next 20-30 minutes, and then we'll hang out off the air. So we'll start.
Yes. Should we make an introduction?
Yeah. Who are you?
Okay. Yes, I'm first as always. Yes, cool. I'm Lara. I'm the artist, community manager, and queen of fucking everything.
Very nice. Karina, we are missing you.
Hear me finally?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm Karina. I'm here to ask some business related questions. Sometimes I do. I have background in sales, in games industry, ad tech, and pretty much that's it.
And you have
This is-
Mac that doesn't work.
And you
Yeah, I
updated
have-
Discord. We like you very much. Anna, what are you doing on the stream and in life?
I am one of those people who has millions of hobbies. I'm a writer on the internet. I have a very cute cat, and today I'm the local drama queen.
Yeah.
Very nice. Piotr, you're welcome on the stream. What are you doing in your life?
Hi. Currently sitting, and that's one of the calmest moments in my life. Other than that, well, you said we have just 30 minutes, so I'll rather not go into that territory.
Okay, makes sense.
Let's say I create things. Recently, I'm working on a video course. I've just released. I mean, the publisher just released a book I've written
That got already stolen.
that got already stolen. That's
so
typical.
sad.
And since I'm also a part of the Million Hobby Club, I really needed some way to, dump my brain to some external storage to be able to really see what's happening in there, see the connections between the different parts, have a better understanding of what is actually going on. Because every time I open an article on the web, for example, I think, that could be nice. That could really fit this one project I haven't started yet, but maybe I will in the next 100 years or so. So it's really worth keeping it someplace. But then again, if I actually decide to start the project, I used to think, okay, I had a lot of resources for that. Now, where could they be? So that's basically how
And
I
also you sell
learned.
tea. And also you do something about vinyl. And also-
Yes, as I said, we only have half an hour, so let's not go into all the things I do.
We'll just use my time. So I'm here to break stuff, juggle the stream, do not funny jokes, and present the beer so we have something to talk about. But
Oh yes,
Anna, I'm looking on your Airtable along with all the people watching us and right now and on the stream and on YouTube. And how do you use this Airtable and why do we call this a garden?
I want to preface this by saying that I'm very new to this idea of digital gardens and gardening in general. I am the proud member of Nestlab's community, which I was a member for a very long time, but I have just recently started to be more active there. And there I'm basically writer out of articles, and I also went through the curator to creator course that Anne Lore created for that platform. And basically that course really helped me to organize my head, because as Piotr mentioned, and I believe every other person who has millions of hobbies, you know that like you're jumping from one idea to another. You always think, okay, this is such a cool thing that you can build, and you don't do it, or you start and like left it halfway or something like that. And that course really helped me to kind of categorize that knowledge that I keep in my head, and also to create kind of this prototype of a garden that I have to store that information, to store that ideas maybe in future and kind of connect them. But this is just the first attempt. That's I'm kind of very aggressively like protecting that work that I have done. This is just the first step that I have done to create that place. But yeah, that's how
Mhm.
I became familiar.
Piotr, what about your digital garden? And how do you define it overall?
Uh, okay, the definition is hard because for me, digital garden is kinda note-taking tool, kinda knowledge management tool, kinda personal wiki. It's all of these things at the same time. So usually when you have a private wiki, or even it's a public one but used for a small organization, the information that you share there is like a very clean version that you want to present to somebody else. You're sharing basically your refined thoughts with others. So you want it to be written in a nice language that everybody would understand, things like that. Same with the blog. The blog is a collection of different posts that have the beginning, the middle, the end. Everything is well structured. In Digital Garden, you can have very rough things, like rough notes. If you look at mine, you would probably see that there is such a mess inside it. But what's cool is that these notes connect to each other. You can see the connections. You can see how how one thing, for example, references the other thing. And since the links are two directional, you also see how this thing that is referenced is being referenced by the other. So it's yeah.
The gentle art of Swedish death.
Yeah, I was also like, what?
The gentle art of Swedish death cleaning.
This is a book.
It's
I read a summary on Blinkist. And yeah, the digital garden that you're looking at is mostly several things. First of all, my book notes. Second of all, a list of cocktails I enjoy making. And third, the things that I'm doing right now and similar stuff. Also, as Anna mentioned several times, it's a work in progress. It's very early stage. It's not really refined. It's something you should not be looking at unless you sign this waiver that says you were mentally stable and you were doing it of your own volition and nobody forced you to read the stuff that I share. Because if you do, you may end up with a million hobbies like we did.
So I have a question. Is it really helping you to, I don't know,
leaf.
yeah, to leave? Because for me, for some reason, it looks like just another your hobby, just plus one hobby to your 100 hobbies. Like, oh, I have nothing to do. Let's organize something. Organization is my new hobby from now.
Actually, that's totally opposite thing. Because I used to try to organize things. I used, for example, Evernote for note taking, and then I wanted to have nice notebooks. This notebook is about this thing, then another one is about other thing. But then, for example, I don't know, I stumble upon an article about fintech. So should I file it under finance? Or should I file it under tech? Maybe I should file it under the startups. And it was like, no, I can't live this way. So,
So much drama.
yes.
Can't relate, but you look so scared about this.
If you were in my brain, you would understand why there's so much drama. So I'm not very good at organizing things. But with the digital garden approach, I don't have to organize, and that's the power of it. I just write down whatever is in my head. I use some hashtags, and then
Purple
the
cow. Purple cow is in your head.
Purple cow, yes. So, for example, I'm taking notes from a book titled Purple Cow. I'm writing, okay, this is a book note, hash book notes, hash purple cow. Some cows are purple. And that's all I have to do. I don't have to worry where to put it, what's the topic, what's, whatever else. And then the software takes care of connecting it to all those other various things. I can get back to the topic of purple cow, for example, and see all the things across the time that came to my mind about this topic. I see them, connected, presented before me. That's really cool because sometimes just noticing those connections is really eye-opening. But yes, it may lead to 1,000,001 hobby, just like Lara mentioned. So this is
Why not?
this is the risk of it all.
Anna, you told that you learned from this concept from Nest Labs, and there is a concept of community digital gardens. Can you talk a bit more about that? Like, okay, so digital gardens, we figured it out, like sorting out your million hobbies, but how does it relate to community thingy?
So I have there's an article about community digital gardens on Nest Labs, and it's mainly talking about how to organize the knowledge inside of your community, so the members of your community can kind of um, effectively use that garden to kind of find their answers to their questions and stuff like that. And I think, especially for community, it's very logical that the digital gardens are very popularized because, in my opinion, at least, communities are not only the place where we can have fun and like talk about different stuff, but also is this huge, very niched knowledge base. Because what you do in a community, actually, like if you're in a member of a, I don't know, podcasting community, you talk about podcasts and everyone is sharing their experience and everyone is sharing their tech stacks. And there is logically needs to be a place where all this information is stored, and thus the community gardens are just created randomly, and people maybe don't call them community gardens. Maybe they are calling them, I don't know, a list of resources or collection of resources. But I think in communities especially, they are very organically created by the community managers themselves.
Should we do that?
Yeah. So what's in your mind, Clara?
I don't know. No, I don't want second hobby. One hobby is enough for me.
What's your first hobby?
It's hard. It's very all over the place.
So if you write down lots of ideas, does it also help you, like, it reminds you somehow of all of those ideas, or it's just a place where you keep everything?
For me, it's a place where, at least in this stage, where I just keep everything. I have not explored that other location because I have actually a physical notebook where I write my ideas. So I'm kind of don't know if I should digitalize it or if I just keep it in physical books. That's just me.
Yeah, so for me, it actually plays both roles. I'm dumping my brain to the tool that I use. So all the ideas, especially the shower ideas, these are the worst, as you probably know. I put them down as notes with proper tags, and the rule is that once a week I do a weekly review, and one of the things that I review is the notes that I've taken, so I can see, okay, so this week I've been thinking about this, that, and then I can get a reminder, for example, okay, so next week I'll probably focus on this project, so I'm setting up a reminder for all the notes that are related to this particular tag, topic, project, whatever. So it's both a place to store things, but it's also a place to get some inspiration and get some second order thoughts, basically. 'Cause sometimes I see several things at once and I'm like, hey, but this connects to something that I read in a different source back then. So I'm, getting back, searching all the stuff that I wrote before, and yeah, I'm writing these down as new notes. So the graph is getting more and more and more complex, just like the mess that is in my brain.
But okay, I understand it for personal use, how you can use it, but still, I don't really get how it works for community. Anna, you kind of explained a bit, but I don't think that I understand completely. Can you, I don't know, explain more, because I'm dumb.
Okay, so one thing is what Anna suggested, that you can store the resources for your community in that community garden.
Is it like a library for a community, or?
Yeah, kind of like that. Basically like a community wiki page. You get a personal wiki for the community, and then everybody has access to it and can add something to it. So can add some resources like links to the best gear for podcasting, or whatever. But there's another aspect, because community gardens differ from wikis. Wikis are directed at the end user, at the reader, most of the time. So you want to be as concise as possible. You want the reader to understand you. Community gardens, the garden thing means that they are constantly growing. The things that you put in it at the beginning are just the seeds. So right now, if you are looking at my garden, you can see that I have just some simple notes, some quotes, for example, from the book. But with time, they're getting developed. When I have more thoughts about it, I add them there. It's a constant work in progress. It's never finished. It's never directed at the end user. You can, of course, take some article or some thoughts out of it and make them into an article, maybe suitable for a blog, maybe suitable for a wiki. But that's not the point. The point is to let it grow, let it develop over time. And let's say we're doing a live stream today, and we have a community of people who are watching us, and they're probably taking notes. Some of them might, and each of them is taking the notes from their personal point of view. So, for example, if someone is interested in tools for note taking, they might be writing down all the tools that we've mentioned. If someone else is interested in, I don't know, cats, then they would probably note every detail of Anna's cat. The thing is, everybody has a different perspective. Everybody focuses on something different. And if we have several people working on a same knowledge base, using some common taxonomy, or make it simple, tags, then we can have notes from one event taken by different people, different point of views, very diverse notes on the same topic in one place that we wouldn't have otherwise. And that's the value I see.
But why would you need it?
That's powerful, Lara. Why do you need together? Like, why do you work together? Because what I think is cool, you think it's shit, and vice versa. And that's what makes it fun. The truth is always in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get new people coming to the community, and you want to onboard them. You want to share the tribal knowledge that has been gathered so far. If your community is hosted on Discord, sure, they can browse the entire history, but most of it would be just noise. And they probably wouldn't get it anyway, because they are lacking some subtle context. Because, for example, someone said something on one channel that relied on something on the other channel. But you can share the list of notes to the new members, and they may quickly get the idea of what's going on.
Imagine how everybody are editing this one single, not document, but this place, right? And then it's just overwhelming. I mean, there will be so much information. You can be lost so quickly. Or maybe there is something I don't know.
So definitely the risk is that you may have too many information in one place. If several people are, for example, duplicating their notes. But the idea of the community garden that I had was for the local hackerspace. And it was so everybody has their own digital garden where they write their own notes, but some of the notes are shared and somehow federated, collected together in the community thing. So everybody can write about whatever they please, about cats, about trees, about, for example, creating things out of Raspberry Pi. And then in a one place, we can select all the thoughts from all the people just about the Raspberry Pi, because that's what we assume the community members would be interested about. They might be interested in cats and trees as well, but then they can go to the personal community garden of this single person. So
how do you think everybody should have an access for a community garden, like in community, or are you supposed to somehow restrict it and moderate?
For reading, definitely everybody, and for many communities, this could even be public and serve as a kind of like marketing resource, because people may just, start searching something on the internet, figure out your community garden page and see, okay, they're interested in some cool things. Maybe I should join them and just talk to them. If we are talking about right access, that's a difficult question. And I would say it depends on your community. I will send you an invoice for €500 because it depends is a consultant term that always ends up in an invoice.
Can you show your digital garden for Hikespers Droimaster? I would like to see it, and if it's open.
We don't have it yet. That's the idea. That's the problem. Basically, we haven't figured out all the bits and pieces that we want to have there, so it's still a concept.
Okay, so you said before interrupted me. So you said that people from outside can see your community garden and they may think that it's very interesting and they can join you. Where they can find it? How there's just you post it in your social media, or how can you promote it, or are there any tools to promote it, or how to show people show people that look, I have
host it at least the Rome research one. You can host it on the custom domain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, so basically, if it's publicly available, then you have the benefits of the search engine optimization. So basically, search engines scroll it and sometimes will think that it might be interesting. It's full of internal links, so I think that's fine. But I'm no expert on SEO, so don't quote me on that. You can promote it by basically sharing it in a digital garden directory of sorts. That's one thing, but also you can just simply share some of the thoughts, some of the topics whenever there's a discussion going. So, for example, someone is talking about, I don't know, owls, and normally I would send them an article from a blog that says owls are awesome. But if I have a few things, few thoughts on owls on my digital garden, I can also send them, hey, I see you're interested in owls, so here are some of my thoughts if you want to read them. And then, I just share with them the owl part. And yeah, basically like you would do with a regular blog. Just keep in mind that people won't read it probably from top to bottom, rather just get lost and confused in it.
So Anna and Piotr, you're quite often in our community, and let's think of something practical. So if you were to suggest a digital garden idea, like a practical digital garden idea for our community punks club, where do we start? What do we start doing? Do we start from installing this wiki engine somewhere? Do we start by randomly putting some articles onto the wiki, like the purple cow and something? Or where do we start so it's sort of instantly useful? Because if it's not instantly useful, people would not invest time in that, and community garden is a community thing, and there we go. So what do we do? Solve the unsolvable problem, please.
The thing that you ask me all the time to do with articles that I share, like give the TLDR. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Get all the TLDRs from Anna, put them in one place, and you have a community
Not
garden.
only me,
And
like
ask
basically
20
everyone did.
euros. And ask to it 20 euros a month to access. I've pretty
Yeah.
much sold on the idea.
Oh my god, business
but how
plan.
much is my cut? Because those are my TLDRs. I will send you an invoice, okay?
Okay, all right, deal.
But yeah, what Anna said,
but
for example,
it's a very good way. I think TLDR as a service. I have tweeted about this like 2 months ago. No one reacted, but I'm sure that if I tweeted about this today, like it will get tons of retweets and stuff. Actually, I wanted to say something. I'm supporting a lot of artists on Patreon, and I have noticed that some, not on Substack, but on Patreon, this is very important. I think on Substack, no one is offering this kind of perk. And on Patreon, a lot of creators are actually, as perk, are putting the notes that I have for this research. For example, someone is putting out a research once a month, and there's a perk they are selling you the notes that all the resources that they gathered during those research. So this can definitely work as a like perk in your pricing tier. Just go and look at any like artist's Patreon, like if it's a filmmaker who is writing essays about movies, or it's a book reviewer who is reviewing, like, I don't know, Lev Tolstoy or something like that.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, because one of the reasons I'm doing this this gardening thing is to keep track of all the cool and useful resources I bump into when producing my educational materials, because sometimes people are coming to me and asking, for example, okay, I would like to learn Python. Where should I start? Show me some articles. And I'm like, gee, I don't really remember anything about it. So
Can you Google it for me, please?
Yeah, so I started collecting the cool stuff that I stumble into and putting it into related tags, etc. And then when I'm producing some educational material, I can also reference that. I know where things come from. Yeah. So
the word that allocates curation.
Again, I'm using our community as an example just because it's easy, and so we all of us share lots of links, lots of resources, and lots of TLDRs about what we share and why, and we discuss it. And probably I could just just copy the thread and paste it somewhere, like, yeah. So including Zan's emojis.
One of the ideas that I was perusing for this community digital gardening thingy was to write a very simple Discord bot that you can call at any given moment to say, hey man, just archive this stuff. And
thread?
The bot the bot will take all the, several messages from the last 10 minutes, put them in a markdown, and basically plant it as a seed in a community garden. So this is like, the easiest way to start, because you don't even have to copy paste. You just have to code.
Yeah, but
we had a hackathon.
Easy peasy.
But we have Piotr. Let's Piotr do the job, and we'll just use the service. I mean, that's easy. I'm just super hype about this idea of archiving pieces of useful conversation somewhere, like a bot that copies like 5 minutes of conversation into a markdown and puts it probably to GitHub, so it's public and it's open source, so Eddie likes it, and we have reason to invite Eddie again. I know, I'm quite inspired by this concept, and I don't know.
Why GitHub? Why not something?
Because on
Nice.
GitHub, it's super easy
No.
for everybody to
No.
edit stuff.
No.
Well, let me
No.
explain.
How you define everybody.
No. That's the whole point. Like,
we can teach Liara. I mean, let me jump just for a tiny second to explain.
So after an 80 hours course, you'll be able to almost comfortably edit some notes most of the time.
Nice. I don't want it. Fuck his idea. Anna, what you wanted to tell?
It's just €8,000 for a limited time.
Okay. Oh, actually, there is a Slack bot that is doing what Piotr said. It's called Lowdown.
We need to steal it.
Yeah,
let's
just
do it.
steal it. It's called Lowdown. Just Google it. It's pretty well known. I guess they launched on Product Hunt, which was a very successful launch.
Will you share the link?
When I find I will share the link in our digital garden. Maybe we'll see.
Oh.
Yes, maybe. But the gist of that bot is that you add it to your Slack workspace, and basically, I don't know how exactly it works, but you can configure it so it will sending you as a newsletter what happened in the Slack workspace. So you don't have to every time check all the tabs, all the things. You need to check only one specific newsletter.
Guys, go and code it.
So basically another surveillance drone.
If you think about it like that, yes.
Let's shut up online and switch to
Yes,
people.
because Piotr promised me to say kurwa. Yes, I'm waiting for it for 1 hour.
I don't understand what is going on.
Okay, we are here in people, and it's gonna happen. What's gonna happen?
Yes. Okay, so thank you everybody for listening, watching us. Goodbye. See you in people.
See you. Bye.